Are we ready for this?
You ready for this?
I'm ready for this.
Oh, we're jumping into it.
We're jumping in. Three, 2, 1.
What's up, everyone? Thanks for joining us on this Wednesday afternoon. Welcome to the Tea Time Podcast,
Where you don't necessarily need some tea, but grab a drink and join us for this discussion.
My name's Lucas.
And I'm Amadeo.
Today,
On Tea Time Podcast, we're gonna hop into a little bit of quarantine. A
little bit of emotions and state of mental health while you're going through all this. While we're all going through all this.
Have you accomplished something this quarantine? Have you not accomplished anything? Is that okay?
That could be an accomplishment in and of itself. If you're just chilling, relaxing, maxing, cooling, shooting some b-ball.
Outside of school?
I mean, if you moved out to Bel Air, if you didn't,
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is at the end of the day.
You vibing, you not?
We vibing.
We are.
So, how you feeling today, Hobie?
I'm feeling good, man. We ups and downs in life, and you just gotta ride them like a roller coaster. Keep your hands up in the air and just look forward to the next one. So, what about you, man? How you feeling?
I'm not gonna lie to you. I was tired earlier. But I'm cooling now.
That's good, because on the Tea Time Podcast, none of that tired.
Never that.
Once you're on the show, man, the tire just melts away. We on some other type. We on some other level. We feeling ourselves. Ooh, get it. Wash it away.
So I guess let's kind of just
jump right into it
a little bit. But first, I want to talk about something else real quick.
All right, hit me with it. Break it down for me.
I want to get this off my chest a little bit.
Ooh.
Lately, I've been thinking about success, right? And this can tie back into a little bit of the quarantine, So at some point during quarantine, I got kind of complacent,
Okay.
And that's not to say that it wasn't healthy, but that was to say that I felt like I was enjoying summer and also kind of sleeping on what else I can do, what other things I can achieve.
Yeah, I feel that.
During summer / quarantine, right? So at one point, I kind of got my ass off my ass. And then, I realized that I was just I in that complacent state, at least in my own eyes, not in anybody else's eyes, because like I said, if you accomplish something, if you didn't accomplish something, is that okay? And who is it okay for at the end of the day?
Yeah.
I think for me personally, I know that it's okay for me to not do anything because, I need that time,
Right.
But at some point, you decidedly, change that up. If you decidedly change that up, So I got to a point where I got my ass up and
You started doing something.
I started doing something. Excuse me. I started doing something, and at some point, I started thinking about success and what that cost, how that's gonna play out,
What does it take to achieve success? What does it take?
What
do you have to invest?
What do you have to invest, and
not just financially, obviously.
Yeah. And so a side note to what I'm trying to say is that every day I take a 30-minute nap, one, because I wake up super early, and two, the boys got to keep moving. I got other stuff that I want to accomplish in the day, what I'm saying? And it's not just work, but some other work too.
Yeah. You don't sleep for long either. I
sleep maybe solid 6 to 5 hours
a night. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you can get by on that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
No, but that nap.
I need more, but the nap is definitely super necessary.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's that little quick, let's go.
Yeah. It's a rejolt.
Yeah.
But so like I said, this is somewhat an aside to it. During my dreams, during these naps, I have my dreams. I realize how tired I am because once you kind of just jump into a dream when you're sleeping, you're tired. Okay, you're just tired. But every one of these dreams that I've had, at least every time I take a nap, is been kind of intense almost, you know, to a certain point where I think maybe I'm feeling anxious. Like today I had a dream that I had done something ridiculous, like jump out of my car, let my car roll into another car, and then have like this whole like, you know, accident,
Like little debacle with
like
the other
little
driver.
debacle with them, you know, and then I find myself running away to my apartment, you know, my dream apartment, and I realize how freaked out I was, and you know, at some point I'm in my apartment changing clothes, doing something entirely else, and I don't know how that relates to it, but it might just be me, like, you know,
Just being extra.
just being
for
like
the
extra.
emotions.
And I wake up and I realize, like, you know, every time that I have a dream when I nap, or every time I nap, I dream, and the dreams are very vivid. And I've always been like a vivid dreamer, but I don't know how. Like, I don't know how this nap has been affecting me, but I feel like there's something lingering inside my thoughts, and it kind of goes back to that success and the cost of like what it is to be successful, you know.
So in Morpheus's words from the Matrix, what's the splinter in your mind? What's nagging at you, bro?
I don't know. Well, I've been thinking about the cost, and the cost for me is like relationships and time.
And so you think that's what you're kind of anxious and apprehensive about?
Yeah, I think somewhere in my subconscious I'm consistently thinking about the effect that I have on people outwardly, and my own internal effect as well. And I'm, you know, considering the cost of my most recent goal is to become, you know, millionaire before 30, and like that just
We wish you all the success.
25 now, soon to be 26, you know.
Yeah.
That's 4 years from now, you know.
Yeah.
That's a hefty goal that I want to accomplish. But I don't find it impossible.
Right. Hey, bro, that's where it starts. You gotta get that. It's up here, man.
I don't find it impossible, but like I said, the cost of it is going to be great. And I think that's what I've been struggling with a little bit lately, because it's been on my mind a lot. It's been a lot of like a lot of it's been on my mind that, like, you know, I go from this quarantine almost being complacent to like jumping to the exact extreme, you know?
Yeah, from one extreme to the other.
Yeah. And I feel like that might not be healthy for people, but at the same time, that's just what I want to accomplish from this moment, you know? Realizing I'm getting older too. So cost has really been on my mind a lot. And I kind of bring it back into the quarantine of everything, because at this point, you know, I'm realizing what I have to do more often and how much I have to schedule my life to, you know, move forward. You know?
Right.
You ever find yourself like, I guess, how have you reacted through quarantine, like with time management? Have you accomplished anything you want to accomplish? Did you not accomplish anything, and is that okay with you?
Yeah.
Or are you okay with, you know?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's been, I mean, thinking about it right now, I didn't really accomplish much, or at least anything that I wanted to accomplish. Like going into the summer and like coming back from Arizona, I was just excited. It was a change of pace. I was going to be back home. I was going to hang out with my friends and stuff. So like, I was like hyped. I had a lot of energy. I was like, okay, I want to do this. I like created a whole layout and like a spreadsheet almost, and like tables of like, okay, these are like pleasure things I want to do. These are like productive pleasure things that I want to do, that like I'm going to enjoy it and it's going to like be pleasureful, but it's also going to get me something in life, right? Yeah. Then there's like chore work I need to do, and then there's just like straight work I need to do that, like regardless of how I feel about it, like I needed to do it to like accomplish something, right? Like update my resume, update LinkedIn. Like it's bullshit that not necessarily everyone wants to go through, but I knew it was going to push me to like the next phase. So I had all this laid out, and then I like for a week it was going okay, but then it kind of just fell off, and I was like kind of fell into that whole complacency and just didn't know what I was doing, didn't really have any motivation for anything. Part of that I think stems from the fact that there was a lot of things I wanted to do coming out of grad school. Like the virus hit. I think like the last day I went into the office for my internship this spring was like sometime in March. It was like, the like mid-March or whatever. And school also stopped being in person by that time. So like I was literally just in my apartment, like day in, day out. I think there was like a point for like 3 days I didn't even go outside. Like I should have just to like even walk around the campus, but I didn't. I just never got around to it, I guess. I really don't have a better excuse. And moving back here, it was almost kind of the same stuff, right? Like one, I think I was a little sad and just depressed about the fact that like you can't really hang out with people, you can't go out anywhere, like everything's closed, you kind of have to stay indoors anyway. And we knew less about the virus, and so like we didn't know how to feel about it.
Yeah.
But then two, after grad school, I wanted to move straight to Colorado, to like the Denver area. I was looking for jobs. I applied for a couple positions and an internship, and I wanted that to be the next chapter in my life. But then the virus came in, and I was like, okay, well, I can't do that. So that was kind of just like, this sucks. And another friend of mine, an exchange student from Spain that used to live here, Jaime, he and I wanted to. He's like traveling the world, and we were talking about it, and we decided like we both wanted. He's gonna go to Australia, and like I was like, I want to go with you. Like that'd just be really cool. So we were gonna go, hopefully, in September, but. Again, like the virus
it just put a damper on a lot of things.
Yeah, exactly. So like I feel like during this whole virus I've just been lost. One, because I was never almost found to begin with. Like I didn't have a job, I didn't have a career, I wasn't living where I wanted to live. Like my whole life just like really took just went into fucking limbo.
Yeah.
And I was like, bro, like I feel like I couldn't make a move, because I'm like, okay, I still want to live in Colorado, but I feel like I can't even move there now, right? We're like, all right, I want to apply for jobs. Like, let me start doing something. So like, even while I'm here at home, maybe I can like at least pick something up. But like, no one was really hiring anyway because of the virus, right?
Yeah.
At the same time, I didn't want to get too engaged in anything because I'm still thinking about this trip to Australia. So I don't want to commit to a position, especially if it's like with a respectable company or something, someone that can get me somewhere, and like I could have references. I don't want to leave on a bad foot. Like, hey, we just hired you, now you're leaving already.
Yeah.
So I just didn't know where to go. I was like, bro, if I go left, if I go right, forward, back, like I just felt super stuck. And I think that just, being dampened by all of that put a damper on everything else. And I was just like, I don't want to do anything because I can't do anything. Whatever I do now isn't going to get me anywhere anyway.
Yeah.
And so I was just like in this like bad way, right?
Yeah.
But I've thought about it too, I sometimes just sit with myself. I'm like, dude, am I just lazy? Like, am I a bad person for just sitting here and like I have all this time, and there's other people that are becoming millionaires by 25, even younger, right?
Yeah,
billionaires, and they're doing something with their life, and I'm just sitting here, right?
Yeah.
And so I think it almost kind of touches back on the conversation we had last week about success, where part of me was like, the part of me that wanted to justify was like, okay, well, maybe I'm just not that type of person that goes out and just like does all this shit.
Yeah.
But then then I was like, okay, hold on, like I don't want to sell myself short, right?
Yeah.
So maybe there's like a middle ground somewhere where like I do fit, but at the same time, I realized that maybe I'm just not doing a lot of shit either, because I haven't found anything that I actually want to do. Like, yeah, I made this whole long list of stuff, but is it really something that like I need or want to do, right? Like, I put on there, I want to learn how to code, and I wanted to like learn French or whatever. And, you know, thinking about it, I'm like, while those would be cool skills, this is something I really need. Like, do I really need to learn to code, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, do I need to know computers that well? Do I need to know French? Like, these would, if I did these things and accomplished them, absolutely, that'd be super productive. It'd be something I can show for, like, now I know how to code. Now I can speak French, right?
Would you feel like, are these things that you'd get pleasure out of, or is it more just like for the progression of your own life kind of thing?
So this would, in that spreadsheet thing that I had, this would fit under the like productive pleasure category, because like pure pleasure was just like playing video games or like hanging out with friends or doing something like that, right? Like it's just quality time, stuff that like would make me happy but doesn't necessarily get me anywhere, right? And so this would be like one of those pleasure productive things, because it's not a bad thing to know how to code. Like if you can code, it does a lot, you know, especially in this day and age. If you're trying to be an entrepreneur or something and now you can code, you can create your own website, or you can, you know, it's not a bad thing to know. But at the same time, again, you know, it goes back to like, do I really need to know this?
Yeah.
And so I think it becomes really complicated, because you could say that this isn't important to me, and so then you justify that you're not lazy because it's not that you're being lazy, but it's not a priority. It's not important to you.
It's not your forefront thought to accomplish that.
Exactly, you know. And so I'm like, all right, cool, but I don't know. I think it's a mix of a lot, because again, that could be like one perspective, but then two, maybe it's just I'm feeling a type of way about other stuff, and that's impacting how I feel about things unrelated to that, right? Like the job market and the trips and stuff. Like maybe because I feel bad about that, now I'm losing motivation towards anything else.
Yeah.
But then that's on me, and like I need to learn to like cope with that better.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
interesting because there's people that I know, some like coworkers, you know, other friends too. They've like picked up a skill, or they've like planted gardens. They're like trying to garden, trying to cook more, learning to sew, stitch things up, you know. And you can say those are necessary life skills. I mean, because they are, you know. Everybody's got to eat.
Yeah, true.
Everybody's got to eat, and you know, fixing some ripped up pants is never a bad thing either.
No, absolutely not. Saves you money in the long run.
But it's like, you know, I see these people that are, you know, doing things consistently, or I hear them doing things like almost hobbyist kind of people. And it's like, you know, are you trying to cope with something by doing more, or are you doing more because you have absolutely no other reason not to?
Yeah.
Because, you know, we're in quarantine. You got time. You're possibly working, you know.
Yeah.
And it's just interesting to me because I feel like that mentality is a little different. Like for you question, are you being lazy, you know?
Yeah.
And for me, when I was like feeling complacent, I was like, no, I wasn't necessarily being lazy. I was just enjoying life at the moment. You know what I'm saying? I was I didn't need to accomplish anything greater, or I didn't feel the need to pick up like, not even cooking because I cook, but like I didn't feel the need to pick up a different hobby now, you know what I'm saying? I felt more lost that like I couldn't do my regular hobbies like work out or play basketball, you know? I mean, you can still work out at home, but for me, workouts at home are trash. Like, I don't know if you've been working out at home. I mean, other than the running, but workouts at home are trash.
No, I believe like that's why gyms exist, because they have the machines that allow you to do so much more. Yeah. You know, like home, absolutely, it is limiting. It's cool that like you still were like, all right, well, this is important to me. I'm going to try to make the most of it. And you know, you can get creative, but there's also just, you know, physical limits that you can't. Like you can't. How can you be creative with something that doesn't exist, that you don't possess? You know, so
it's tough
in this instance. You know, with like working out.
But that just, going back to that mentality of just like, am I lazy? Have I been lazy? Yes, I've been lazy per se, but I don't think it was because I didn't want to be productive. It was because I just didn't need to be. It wasn't a necessary need for me, almost like, you know, priority. It wasn't a foremost priority for you to, you know, learn to code or pick up French because, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, those would have been cool things to do for sure, but in a different aspect, like the people that were actually doing different things to fill their time were doing like I wouldn't even say regular stuff, but like kind of regular stuff.
Yeah.
You know? I didn't hear nobody say, "Hey, I want to learn how to code." I didn't, you know, I didn't hear anybody say, "Hey, I've been practicing my French, you know, s'il vous plaît," some shit like that.
Right. Yeah.
So like, you know, it's cool. It's interesting. Like it's a different aspect.
Yeah.
But have you found that you feel negatively about what wasn't done, or you just?
Yes and no. Like I do think about it sometimes. I'm like, you know, like you mentioned it earlier. Like I have no reason not to do these things.
Yeah.
Right. And so I do feel bad about it sometimes when like I'm just bored and I'll rewatch the same movie I've already watched like 10 times.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting on the couch and watching and like whatever, right? And part of me enjoys it, but at the same time part of me is like, dude, what am I doing? Like, is this the person that I want to be? Is this who I see myself as, right? I think that's the question that really gets me. And then it just, you know, at the end of the day, I think you just need to be honest with yourself, because society can say a lot of shit and you can be like, oh, you're lazy, right? Well, yes, but at the same time, like, no, like, what is lazy? What is lazy? Lazy means different things to different people, right? Same with complacency, and like thinking about even the word complacency and like being complacent during this conversation we're having, right? Like, when do you stop being complacent, right? Because that's the thing, like, let's say...
Is there a ceiling to it?
Right. Let's say someone achieves, like, success, right? And I'm not talking, like, millionaire status or anything, but let's say you're making, like, $250K a year, right? Like, you're pretty set and solid, right? You have a nice home, your family's taken care of, you don't have any expense, like, debts or anything. Like, you're straight. You're super not worried about anything, right? Like, resources, got on the lock. Okay, so that person achieved success, but by maintaining the level that they're at and not going any higher, are they being complacent? Like, would someone call them being complacent? You know, like, my first reaction in imagination is, no, people wouldn't say they're complacent because, like, they achieved something and now they're just, like, living their life. They're just enjoying the fruits of their labor. Well, okay, cool, but then in that case, if someone's just making $50K a year, then they're not expanding and growing.
Are they complacent?
But they're also happy and they got everything they need unlocked. Are they complacent? Or are they just enjoying their fruits of the labor, but that's all they got? You know, they still have grapes on the vine instead of, like, champagne, for example, right? You know what I mean?
Their grapes haven't matured yet. They're not there.
And so, you know, where do you draw the line?
Yeah.
And
I mean, some of us like bubbly and some of us just like fruit, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, like, do I want to be achieving a lot more than what I'm currently doing? Absolutely. Do I have visions of that? Do I see myself doing more? 100%. Can I do that right now? I don't see it with the way things are currently looking. In terms of the whole pandemic kind of putting everything on lock and, like, holding it down, you know? Because, like, I mean, dude, how, like, yeah, you can have a phone interview with someone, but if you want to start working for a corporation, like, I feel like it's kind of like, yeah, people are hiring, and with that in mind, I feel like this is just me talking, but at the same time, it's like, it's not the same as before, you know? Like, what, are you gonna have an in-person interview? Like, I feel like it's just, do those things even take place now with the virus? And so, you know, am I being lazy and blaming not being in a position and, like, achieving what I want to achieve because of the virus and stuff? Yeah, you could say I am. I think that I'm right to a certain extent, but at the same time, like, I'm just chilling right now. And when I do get my moment, and when I do get into my groove and hit my stride,
Yeah.
then I think it's gonna be different.
I like that. I like that. That's like a positive outlook on it, because you know, there are probably people out there, you know, same situation, incapable.
Oh, I believe it, dude.
Incapable because of the pandemic.
Everyone
and
that I
then
graduated with.
and it's no yeah, for real though, for real.
Everyone else that graduated. Shout out to all the 2020 grads.
Hey, on the low, have you ever kept in contact with them, or have you kept in contact with any of your like fellow classmates? Or?
Yeah, two. Actually, we were talking. We like exchanged because we were in a group together for one of my classes, and we just exchanged a couple of texts last week or something. And like, hey, what's up, guys? Just like a quick check-in, right? And the one guy, he said that he was like super desperate to find work. He applied to 85 different places and only heard back from 6. And then got hired to 1.
My pride hurts for him.
I know. Out of 85, I was like, bro,
that's a solid amount.
Dude, bro, that's ridiculous. Dude, man, fucking props to him, but that's some shit, dude. That's grinding all day just on applications and work, and like, dude, oh man. But anyway, and the other girl said she sent out like 15 applications, but really hasn't heard anything either. So I'm like, damn, you know, it's like a struggle. And she said that she knows of a guy, like a doctoral student. He applied to like over 100 different positions, or like with the federal government and stuff. And he was a Peace Corps member too, and like,
oh god, like did he find a position or anything?
Maybe I don't even know.
I hope so.
He didn't really even hear back from that many to begin with, and he just sent out all these applications. And I'm like, damn, bro, like
that's so disheartening for me, and I'm not even in that position like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and
it's so disheartening.
And like, again, I don't want to lean on this excuse, but I feel like that just, you know, almost proves my point that it's like not fucking happening.
With all the credentials, it's like even still hard.
Yeah, as like, especially in positions like that, you know, I know, I could take up a job at like Burger King or whatever, you know, and like, my thing is, I'm nothing against that work. It's just not for me. I don't want to fall into that where like I'm just doing that day in, day out, and it takes away time from like other stuff. Or like, if I have the opportunity now to kind of just be lazy and enjoy it, might as well. You know, that's kind of the way I see it.
That's like I said, that's a positive take on it, because like, you know, you don't necessarily need to be doing something.
Yeah,
you know?
like if you're, and you know, that's the thing. Like, people might be like, "Oh, you're lazy and complacent."
Well, you're overcompensating.
Yeah, like, I mean, bro, like, chill out. You know, like, I'm just, if I'm happy with where I'm at, who the fuck are you to question and tell me different? You know, like, oh, I'm lazy? Great. I'm so happy for you that your expectations are different, and I hope you live up to your own, you know? Because, like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's kind of how I see it, so.
Well, hey, I mean, honestly, I feel like, you know, after everything's been said and done through quarantine, because it's where are we now? It's been 6 months since quarantine started.
Yeah.
It's been 6 months.
It's kind of fucked up because it's been like 10 since we heard about this shit.
Yeah.
Okay, 8. 9.
Oh, no. It's been
like November. I think it started talking about it. December for sure.
Yeah, I think I caught COVID back in December. I was kind of really sick back then.
Yeah. But no, it's been like 6 months.
Oh, yeah.
6.
Yeah. It's been 6 for me. Like
March for sure is when like shit started going into lockdown and like, no movement.
Yeah, like.
Yeah.
I mean, we're still at work. We're still doing, you know, split shifts. Like.
Yeah.
We're still taking precautionary measures for everything.
Like, people are barely going back to work too. Like, my mom's in shifts now too with her fellow coworkers.
Yeah.
There's only 4 of them in the office to begin with.
Ain't too many of them. So another thing I want to bring up too is, you know, being at home, you know, with all this time, regardless if you've done anything or not, have you have you been dealing with your family? Has it been like dealing, or has it been like, you know, coexisting? Because I mean, me personally, I've been home. I think, you know,
not much has changed for you other than you're just at work less.
I'm just at work less, and I just know my siblings have just been, you know, they're home more. Not even home more, but like it was summer already
So
to
they were
begin
gonna
with.
be home anyway.
Yeah, so there it didn't feel like much had changed too much, and like my family's not the type of people to be right here breathing down each other's necks out of frustration and anger. But I do know that at some point my family probably got like hit like an apex of just like frustration.
Yeah.
Which was funny because I didn't realize how cooped up they felt because I had still been working.
Yeah, like you were in and out of the house.
Yeah.
Was your mom in and out, or was she just home all day too?
She was doing like in and out kind of stuff. She was doing stuff from here and there,
but not like consistently.
And it just like I could tell at some point like this whole like being in a pandemic was kind of really taking a toll on my family.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, it's interesting to see because I didn't feel like it took like too much of a toll on me. Although it kind of did a little bit. Not, I guess, in a family sense, it kind of did.
Yeah.
I guess I got a little closer to my family, but I feel like I've been close with my fam. At least my sibs, I've always been close to them.
Yeah.
And then with the OG, me and the OG or the OG, I don't even know how to explain that situation. It's just more, I'm grown. She's my mommy. I know. I love her. We're existing.
But like your lives are kind of different and separate too.
Yeah, our lives are, I'm trying to build my life and she's taking care of, these chillins and trying to live her best life too. So I don't feel like anything really changed too much between me and my family. I guess communication got a little better. Just a little better. Because we didn't always have the greatest communication. So I think communication got a little better.
That's good.
But we still have our moments, honestly. We still have our moments.
I feel that. Nah, as every family.
Yeah.
For us, I think for my dad, nothing really changed because he still goes to the office every day, and so like I think his drive just got easier, If anything, it's probably been a little more positive for him, like he works in TV, and I think now that people are home, I can imagine that they'd be watching more TV, and so he'd have more customers. But I think he said business hasn't really changed much, so it's just for him, it's just like it's just another day,
Yeah.
Everyone's going through the virus, and I guess I'm part of it too, but like I'm not feeling it right like that, For my mom, it's been a good thing because she likes working from home, and it saves her like the hour and a half one-way commute to downtown. So she definitely likes it. She feels like she's more productive. It has been convenient for my sister and I too, because like now instead of having to like call her or whatever, like we just knock on the other bedroom. We're like, yo, what's up? We like step into her,
What's up, ma?
step into her new office, right?
Uh-huh.
So if we ever need anything or whatever, just like want to talk to her about something, she's like right there, and so it's pretty easy and convenient. But it is kind of funny because like, I'm an adult too, if you didn't know.
Oh,
surprise.
really?
Surprise.
Thanks.
And when my mom, like I'm living my own life or whatever, but like when my mom's home, I'm like, do I gotta tell her I'm going out? Like, should I just bounce? Like, what's going on? And then, two, there's always someone here at home, and you're never like alone. And with this virus, you're just surrounded by people, right? And it's kind of funny because like we know we're all home, but like my mom's at work and she's like doing her own thing, and so it's funny because like my sister, my mom, and I are all inside the house, but like we won't see each other until dinner time.
You're like, oh hey, welcome back from home, work.
Yeah. Now that she started going back to the office a couple of days a week, and like how they have shifts at work, sometimes the guest bedroom door, like where her new office is, sometimes it's closed, and I'm like, I wonder if mom's home today or she went downtown,
Hello?
And
Hello?
unless I knock and check the room or like see if her car's in the garage, I honestly like wouldn't know, right?
Uh-huh.
And so it's, I don't know, like when I was living in Phoenix when this virus started, I was just alone. It was bittersweet. One, because I was just straight chilling, like I was in the comfort of my apartment or whatever. But at the same time, like I knew it was only a temporary place, so I never always saw it as like my apartment
like
necessarily. Home. Yeah, it wasn't. It was a home. It was just like a place for me to live while I was going to school there. But at the same time, I was kind of like, I was definitely feeling lonesome. I was like, damn, dude, this fucking sucks. Mm-hmm. Like, I wish I was in Illinois, so at least I was closer to my friends, you know? Because, like, yeah, I made a couple acquaintances there, but... And I'm not saying I don't value them, I do, but it's obviously not the same as, like, people you've known
on
for
a
years.
Deeper level.
Yeah,
deeper connection,
like,
stuff like that.
My man for 11 years, and I'm like, bro, where you at, you know? I needed a little bit of Amadeo in my life, and I wasn't getting all my, you know, vitamins and nutrients.
You're so sweet.
And I was just like, dude, this fucking sucks, you know? And so, I don't know, have we gotten closer, farther? I think, honestly, not much has changed. Communication got better in the sense that we're able to talk more often, more frequently. So if it's like, hey, what's for dinner tonight? Or like, should I make dinner? Then I can just go to my mom and be like, yo, what's up? What's good? You know? Mm-hmm. And I can ask my sister like, what you want? Type of thing, and just like make things work that way, right? So I guess communication about logistics has gotten better. Like family logistics, house stuff. But other than that, like we're pretty much the same. You know, like not much has changed.
I would hope that like in different like households that like communication would get better. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Because regardless if the communication was good to begin with, like it probably get even better because people are home and you're like forced to get into more interactions like that. I know a couple of my coworkers were talking to me at some point. They're just like, yeah, you know, I'm just kind of butting heads with my family, you know, because we're all doing our thing.
When the pandemic first started, or like a couple weeks into it, and like, you know, everyone was forced on quarantine, stay at home, etc. I saw a post, someone was like, quarantine must really suck for all those going through domestic abuse.
That's serious.
That shit hit me. I was like, damn, dude, for real. Like I didn't even think about that, but like, yeah, you know, kind of like you said your coworkers and like, you know, even people I know, like they're just butting heads with the people at home, but like, what is beyond butting heads? What is like beating heads? You know, like
and that's sad, you know, and that's like a reality because like that's an actuality. Mm-hmm. And you know, on top of that, there's kids probably at home, you know, not being in like in a domestic abuse kind of situation, but probably being, you know,
just in a negative environment that's not conducive or productive for them. Mm-hmm.
So like I said, I would hope
now with school coming around too,
I would hope that the, you know, people's environments would allow for better communication and at least positive, you know, change in the familial setting. But you know, that's not always the case either. And like you said, with school coming up, people are going back to work too. People are starting to go back to work slowly.
And I mean, even the people that like have been continuing to work, right? Like, I mean, if my sister and I were like in grade school, right, and we needed a parent to like help us with this shit, like, bro, my mom's working from like 8 to 5, you know, like she's, like I said, sometimes we're at home all day and like I don't see her until dinner time because she's just in her room and like I'm doing my own thing and like that's it, you know. We just don't interact because there might not be a reason to, right? But imagine like if I had to go through school and she had to like help, like, bro, no, I can totally understand like how parents are like pissed and don't know how to navigate, and I think, you know, just it like sucks. I hope it doesn't lead to like resentment or like negative or outwardly negative feelings or expressions towards like, you know, both the kids and the adults, because it's just a big stress on everyone, you know. And I think it's important to just be like open and stuff. That's like a little side note, but yeah, this quarantine's been doing some shit, man. This whole virus and pandemic, and I'm happy we get to hang out though.
Me too. Me too. I would,
And we haven't been lazy. We started this damn podcast.
chalked up to
keep
say
watching.
we did start this podcast. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, so it's like,
Like, comment, subscribe, share.
and if you have any questions, or concerns, or
Drop them in the comments.
let us know.
Hit us up on the medias.
Speaking of medias, have you watched anything interesting lately?
You mean like new shows and stuff?
Yeah. I find I don't usually watch TV, and when I do, what I do is just like watch like other people's podcasts, or oh my god, thankfully the NBA is back and they're like in playoff mode.
Yeah.
So I've been watching that too.
I heard that's been a big thing. Have I watched anything new? No. I'm watching Dave, Lil Dicky's show, Dave Bird. And it's cool. It's entertaining for the time being. Like I binged a little bit, so I'm just seeing where it goes. I'm not a big TV show person, more into movies, but I haven't seen anything crazy like that. Oh no, I did watch Mr. Robot too, like all 4 seasons, like the whole show. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've never watched it before.
recommend it.
Okay.
Take your time with it though, because like I would not recommend watching like back-to-back episodes. Like you need just like at most one a day.
Is that like
you need time to like comprehend what goes on, because it's deep and there's like a lot of intricacies.
Oh, it's a very digestive show.
Yeah, like Dave you can just watch back to back. It's just comedy, goofy, simple. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
but like no, Mr. Robot's like, bro, it's complex.
Mr. Robot it is.
But-
I need a new show in my life, honestly.
I'd recommend it. Yeah.
Another thing I kind of want to bring up too, though.
What's up?
Another thing, kind of like, sorry to take that away from you.
No,
real
go
quick.
ahead. We were talking about something else anyway.
You know what's kind of crazy? Like what I've also been thinking about since we've been in like a whole pandemic. At least, what's like overarching about the pandemic is that like this isn't the only kind of, I wouldn't say disaster, but like the only event going on in the world right now. There's so much like in other countries. Did you see, hear about the what is that, like the missile explosion? I forgot where it was at. But
Was it?
like it was somewhere in the east,
It was Middle East. I want to say Tehran, but I don't know if there's.
something like that.
I need to look this up, dude. This is gonna drive me insane.
Look it up real quick. But there's that. There's fires, like firestorms in California. The thing is, like those have been going on for a while.
Yeah.
For a while. Natural disasters, hurricanes, down in Georgia, stuff like that. Obviously, the pandemic increased down in the states, lower states. Earthquakes to come in Cali too.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of other things going on.
There's a wildfire in Colorado going
on.
on.
There was
So you're saying the pandemic has just kind of taken over everything, and like no one's paying attention to other shit.
Yeah, there's a lot of other shit going on. There's just like everywhere too. Like,
And
I don't want to make it seem like it's the end of the world, but like if you really consider all the things that are going on while this pandemic is going on, it almost seems like the end of the world is here.
yeah, dude. And it's it almost has like the vibe of like a conspiracy theory too.
yeah.
But I'm not trying to get into all that. But the thing is, like, I was in the Middle East, Beirut. I was in Beirut. Yeah.
That was crazy.
Yeah, bro. Like,
That explosion was
nuts.
crazy.
But yeah, like that explosion. Like, there is a lot of shit that's been going on. Like, even the simple. Okay, maybe the. I won't use any qualifiers, but like domestic abuse, right? And the coronavirus and the pandemic and like being forced into like quarantine. Like someone made a comment about that earlier or whatever, but like, or a post, but I never I haven't seen anything to date about that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, maybe there's not a lot of people going through that shit to begin with, but at the same time, you'd imagine that there'd be some sort of advisory by somebody, or like at least in one article that you skim through, like in the New York Times or something, at least, like how the virus has been affecting people with, domestic abuse. Exactly. And you think something would have been published, but like
that's true.
Every day, what's kind of annoying me about this whole thing though is like the only shit you hear is about case numbers and death tolls. How many masks are being produced, ventilators, like what about moving past that? Like, I don't need to have the latest figures and updates every fucking day. Give me just like a sum at the end of the week, really. But like talk about other shit that pertains to the pandemic.
Actually going on.
Yeah, not like, oh, today's news we have more cases. Like it's kind of like no shit, we're gonna have more cases and more deaths. Like,
and I feel like the quarantine in general has kind of attributed to like unrest a little bit, just because there's still protests out there going on.
Which kind of blows my mind, bro. Like it's been a while.
There's still protests, and like rightfully so. I mean, there was something recently that happened. That man that got shot 7 times in Kenosha.
Yeah, dude. Like people are still getting shot left and right. I'm like, what?
It's not even right. Like it's crazy to me. It's crazy to me because when I actually saw that video, I was like almost drawn to tears. Like I almost like cried for a second because it's like, hold on, like what just happened? Why did the events proceed like that?
I haven't seen the video or heard anything about it, but like I do that specifically, but I do hear stuff like, oh, another shooting here, another shooting there, like, whatever, police brutality. I'm like, damn, bro.
I feel like there's just a lot really, really, while the pandemic is going on, that like there's a lot of other things going on as well.
Yeah, but like the pandemic is just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much other shit.
Which, still brings me to the point where I feel like this is not the end of the world, but this is maybe a
pivotal
moment in history. Change may be occurring, whether that's positive or negative. And I feel like it's leaning more towards like a negative outcome.
There's a saying that would be fitting for this situation. I can't think of the exact one, but the one that comes to mind is like you have to destroy in order to create. And so maybe this is just that destructive phase, and
yeah.
I don't know when the creating phase is going to happen, but
that's crazy. I mean, because like I think about it too, it's like, if you have to destroy to create, will America, I guess just as an American, will America destroy its entirety of like, I guess, civilization that it's created now?
Yeah.
And are we going to come out of the pandemic and the civil unrest, the protests, the natural disasters? Are we going to come out of this still America or an entirely different place?
Yeah. Dude, I don't know. And people say like, oh, I think this virus is going to teach us a lot. But at the same time, I'm afraid it might not.
I think it's just allowing people to disqualify the work that we have to get done as humans together,
Yeah. Part of me hesitates though, because like, what are people going to learn? Like the everyday Joe Schmo, like, we might not take anything out of it other than like, okay, this is how I should prepare, or like this is how I need to stock up next time, and this is what it's gonna be like. But in terms of others, I think it's only like people in power that control or have an input in like the medicinal industry and stuff, in the sense that how can we respond to future emergencies like this better? Like what policies can we put into place? How can we accommodate all the sick, etc.? Like things like that. Like, regular people aren't going to learn anything about that,
Yeah.
And so I think like, is society going to change, and like social norms and stuff, are they going to be different? What is society going to look like afterwards? Like, are we going to take people for granted? Are we not? Like, are we going to be like more? Are we going to be more human?
Are we going to come together as like a humanity versus? Are we going to be more divided as like humans too?
Or is like nothing going to change, and we're going to wake up and be like, okay, everything goes back to normal. Nothing fucking happened.
That's a scary thought to think about, because like I would like I said, I would hope that the communication in family homes would get better,
Yeah.
But that's not necessarily the case, and that's like very relatable to the entirety of the world as a human species, you know. You would hope that as a human species we'd get better at, you know, communicating, being human, having value in each other.
Yeah.
But that's not always necessarily the case.
No, I think one thing we are going to learn is that to be more creative with how to get engaged with people, or like know that there's always a way to like overcome any type of obstacles, you know, because like I saw a commercial today about Match.com.
Yeah.
And they're, you know, they're setting up virtual dates with people, right? And like you can go out to dinner together, but like you're each in your own home, and you have the laptop in the place where the person was supposed to be sitting, right? And so like it almost goes,
that's innovation.
It is. And it, you know, I hope that from things like that, people will start to realize like, okay, you know, it breaks those stereotypes, or like those social norms, or like the social definitions,
like the construct of
the construct, that might be the best way, like the construct of like a date, right? Because like, what is a date? Well, after this pandemic, I feel like people want to be like, well, a date can be anything as long as you're spending time with someone, right? Or doing something. And like that could be on the phone, it could be a virtual date, like it could be in person, it can be through a piece of glass. Like, make it what you want, right? Like, what if you wanted to go on a date with someone, right? But like, you didn't want to do it through Zoom, but you can't be interacting in person, right? What if you just pull up to a parking lot, both your cars are next to each other, but you still have the windows rolled up, but like you just call each other. And so, you know, you're like right there. We still got the windows up to like protect yourselves in your car, but like you're just on the phone, so at least you can talk. You know, like you just gotta get creative with it. I think that's what we're gonna learn.
I think I like that. Like I like that as funny. For me, that just sounds kind of funny. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because it's so untraditional.
And that's what I hope people learn. That.
And I feel
those
like
constructs that you're talking about. You know, like how you defined it.
It'll be you know, untraditional constructs, or maybe the undoing of traditional, you know, not values, but the traditional means of going upon and interacting with people. You know what I'm saying? How do you feel about that? Like, how do you feel personally about like taking or not having those traditional like forms of communication, you know? I feel like we should get into this in another topic.
And I won't go into it really, but
we definitely could. But for me, I you know, thinking about traditional like forms of doing things, I think what's crazy is that humanity now is definitely shifting those traditions, like you said. But I don't necessarily know how relationship traditions will change. But I also feel like I said, different topic, but it goes into like, you know, the roles of gender, you know, male and female roles, and how those are kind of being undone to a certain extent too,
right?
You know, not being so traditional.
Exactly.
But like I said, we can get into that next time.
No, definitely. The only thing I will say is like, about those roles, that if you think about it, like, let's say you do have this virtual dinner date, right? Well, no one's paying for the bill, you know, but at the same time, both of you have to prepare some sort of food, you know, and then like you like, and you don't want to make like you don't want to have. I mean, unless that's the point, you don't necessarily want to ball out with some Lunchables either. You know, like you're trying
bust the whole Lunchable out.
You know, like you could, but you don't want to look. You might not want to. I wouldn't want to look lame. I'd be like, "Fuck, I gotta make some food." But like, what do I make?
Put your worst foot forward.
For real. And so, you know, now the dynamic changes because you're like, shit, like I'm having this dinner date, but fuck, we're not going to a restaurant. Like I have to make some food too. And so like no one's paying the bill, but both you have to cook, and you know, so it's just like, yeah, those norms, and it all becomes kind of different. But yeah, no, we'll have to talk about it for another time.
Yeah, we can save that for a later date, my guy. Oh yeah. So thank you for joining us today on the Tea Time Podcast. Join us next week as me and Lucas dive deep into a different conversation.
I think that about covers it. I don't know what else to say. You did it pretty well. Yeah, what he said.
What I said. You have anything else to say? Any last remarks at least before we close?
One thing really quick. So REI is, I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's just a company that sells like outdoor and athletic stuff, right? They just built a brand new headquarters. They haven't even moved into it and they're already selling it.
Really?
Because of the pandemic, right?
Oh, wow.
And I think that businesses and like corporations might change their approach and mentality too, because if people can't work from home and they maintain their productivity and you don't need an office space anymore, there's money you could be saving on like leasing. That's better for the environment. People don't gotta drive. And there's so many other, like, there's a huge domino effect of just benefits that comes with it, right? So
that's
hopefully we see that in the future too.
That's a big topic. Like
it is.
Like I said, that kind of just goes with the traditional
values and
values of
Yeah.
how we conduct things.
Yeah.
I think at least like, not to generalize like generations, but like millennials. The next generation. What's the next generation after us? Gen Z.
Maybe it's gonna start at Gen AA, and then it's gonna go AB, AC.
But like,
go through the alphabet again.
But like I'm saying, I think within our generation as millennials,
Yeah.
it's already shifting the traditional values and the forms of how we do things, and
Yeah.
it's gonna continue to progress. And I don't know if people are ready to accept that. In general, because like I think about it,
but at the
my world would be shaking a little bit, to be honest.
Yeah, for real. But then the generation that is following us, they're once like us and the previous generations are gone, like they're like born with technology already in it. Like we grew up kind of with it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. This whole virus and pandemic has definitely shaken up the world. I just hope that when the dust settles, we're like in a better place, And I think we will be. We're always progressing forward, but I don't know. It might take a couple years to like see the effects, but
I think so too.
But it'll be fun. It'll be interesting to see the fallout, I guess.
Ooh, that is such a weird way to put it. All right. Well, on that note,
Yeah.
Catch y'all later.
Thanks for tuning in. See you next week.
Much love, y'all.
Yeah, much love. Peace.
イタチ、最後に約束しろ。